Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name is Jade, and this is How to App on iOS. And today, we're going to embrace the darkness and become the light, my little CloudFighters. It is time. We're going to interview Pi.A finally on the show. I can't wait. This is going to be awesome. You guys are going to love it. She's amazing. This is one of her tracks that we're going to go into. Today's show is sponsored by DistroKid, and this is Most Wanted. Boom.
To feel, believe into the good and bad around you. The things that make it feel so blue. Why can't you see the truth of you? And it screams, damn, I want you, damn, I need you. You are the rain, the sun, my blue. Why can't you see the truth of you? And I handle myself together, only thinking of you. My thoughts revolve around the need I feel for you, the dreams, the mood, the pressure, the fight, the lust, my treasure. Damn, I want you, damn, I need you. You are the rain, the sun, my blue. Why can't you see the truth of you? The need, the lust, the squeeze. I breathe and dream. Eyes I can see, the skin I can feel, the lips I imagine like a voice of a legend. Damn, I want you, damn, I need you. You are the rain, the sun, my blue. Why can't you see the truth of you? Can't hold myself together. And I handle myself together, only thinking of you. My thoughts revolve around the need I feel for you, the dreams, the mood, the pressure, the fight, the lust, my treasure.
Howdy do. Welcome to the show, everybody. That was Pi.A, our special guest who's coming on the show very shortly. Pronounce it alternative. That's what her name stands for. And you're going to love this interview today. It's going to be awesome. You're going to love her music if you haven't heard it before. If you have heard it before, well, it doesn't matter. You're going to have heard it by the end of this show. Trust me on that. I hope you're all doing well out there. It is Friday morning here, the end of the week here in Australia for me. So I get a day off after this. That's really cool. I need to make mention before we get into today's show, of course, like we do once a month, every month on this show, today's show is, of course, sponsored by DistroKid. Boink! There they are right there above me. How cool's that? Technology. Awesome stuff. So DistroKid, who are DistroKid? What do they do? What are they all about? DistroKid can put your music out there to the world on all of the streaming services that you could ever imagine. And if you use this link here, distrokid.com/VIP/Jade Starr, you can have your music available on all of the streaming services like Apple and Spotify and Amazon and you name it, they're all there. Facebook, you can get your music on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, all of the places. It's so damn cool that you want to do it if you want to put your music out, and it's super cheap. You can see there's 3 plans here, $19.99 a year. You get unlimited uploads, albums, singles, whatever you like. You get one artist to do that with. You've got a Musician Plus plan, the middle plan here, right there in the middle for $35.99, and you get 2 artists, unlimited releases and all that jazz. You get a whole bunch of extra things there. Or if you've got a few artists and you want to become like a record label or something, you can use the label plan at $79.99. That's what I use because I've got a whole bunch of bands. Yeah. But if you sign up using the code that is offered in the description, and which is distrokid.com/Jade Starr VIP. What was it? Who am I? There it is. VIP Jade Starr. You'll get 7% off your first year. Anyway, we want to thank DistroKid for always sponsoring our one interview a month. And halfway through the show, we'll come back and I'm going to tell you a little something about DistroKid, something you might not know that you can do in case you muck up when releasing your albums. So we'll talk about that a little bit later on the show. Thanks, DistroKid. You guys rock. Yeah, boy. All right, so our special guest today, I came across this wonderful artist music, what do you know, on a little channel called Thomas Christ. Thomas Christ's You Rock Show. This is where I first heard this amazing artist. And I know Thomas is a massive advocate for this artist today. He pushes her to the moon and above. To the moon and above. And rightly so, because she's really, really amazing and super, super talented and very quirky and innovative. And that's what I really love about her music. So she's coming all the way from Germany today. So I need to slow down my talking because I am a fast-talking, stupid Aussie. And we're going to get right into it right now. So without further ado, the amazing, the unique, quirky, delightful, you're all going to get to find out more about her today. I introduce you to Pi.A, pronounce it alternative. Boom. Welcome to the show.
Hi guys, it's me, bright in color, without filters, without effects today.
No filters, no bullshit, right here, right now. Boom, let me put my
Yes,
DistroKid logo
indeed.
up there. So how are you going today? How you going?
I'm feeling so grateful. I don't know what's happening, but the things on my side starting to roll. And for me, one of these rolling milestones I reached in my little PA career is to be on your show, Jade. Thank you for having me here. I really, really, really appreciate that. Really, thank you for having me.
The pleasure is absolutely all mine. I've wanted to have you on the show for a damn while now because, you know, you're very mysterious, I find, you know, to see your clips and see about you and just I've wanted to know more for ages. So I'm going to jump straight in and we're going to ask
Sure.
about your name. Pi.A, pronounce it alternative. How did this come about? What does this whole name and character and what is it all about?
So PA is a name really created from the name Pia, which I hate to be named off, as I told so often. But the thing is, when I was 10 years old, I decided to become Pia one day because I hated my real name. And with the ages, someday I said to myself, hey, Pia is so boring. It's typically German. It's just like a boring word. And so I decided and think about, okay, what should PA stand for? And I put the dot in between and it rushes in like in 3 seconds or so was pronounced it alternative, which you all know now. And on that, everything other was built it. So it all started on my side with the name.
It's interesting how our brains work, you know, because when I first started seeing you crop up in all these shows, I'm like, my brain automatically would say Pia, right? So I find myself stopping every time I say your name and going, P.A. And I have this moment, but I'm getting better and better at it. It's just a thing, you know, our brains see things and they automatically fill in the blanks sometimes and can, you know, it's like when you see a sentence sometimes and people put all the letters around the wrong way, you can still read that. Your brain still does that. So,
Yes.
so
Yeah, I mean, PA is a promise to myself. This is like when people choose artist names, everyone has like their own story. I don't know. I think Eminem was on the toilet when he decided to become Eminem, and then it came out Eminem. Like, and when I think about myself, it's really a coincidence. Otherwise, I would name myself Shady Lady or whatever.
Shady Lady.
But I mean, when I just think about Eminem, this would come close. But in my case, it was I want to promise myself to give back to the world what I needed, what I didn't get when I was a child. And so PA was born very quick, and I promised myself to get that shit real someday, just like to like mean it serious with myself, to say, okay, go all in, I double down, I do the work to just create something I can be proud of someday.
I'm sure there's
Short and simple.
someone out there is watching this right now. Some female artist who's just heard you say "shady lady" and she's like, "I'm using that name." You watch.
Yeah, I mean,
I find it.
and when I
I find it really interesting when artists create their own names because I think it's very important. You know, you do see sometimes artists out there like, and you think, dude, your name's John Smith. Why didn't you change your name to something else? Like, there's so many John Smiths. It's a very it's important thing to do to create. And like Madonna, like, you know, there's been so many artists who've done this, created a name for themselves. And it matters later on because you need to stand out on these tiny little pages on Spotify. And, you know, we don't have CDs
absolutely,
in stores anymore with the cards dividing. It's all
it's
digital.
it's not only that. I mean, it's something tattooed not only on your soul as an artist, where you can like imagine yourself, like somebody called you like that. And I wanted to have something, and I think I can speak for most artists, where I can be proud of it 20 years later. So I just think long term, I just said to myself, hey, so 20 years later, when somebody called you PA and you're like an old woman, what did you think about it? And I think it would be pretty cool. Or like choose something which you always would tattoo on your own skin someday and be proud of it later, years later. And I have, for me, with my friend Melissa, the goal when I made it with PA someday, somehow, I will tattoo somewhere this logo, just to make clear that I was the original before something else happens.
I was lucky enough to change my name when I came out trans because you get to create your whole new name. And back in 2013, I thought I was so cool. I was like Jade Starr. I thought I was so cool. Now, do you know how many porn stars there are with the same name as me? It's so terrible. There's
Yeah,
even
the face is glued to the logo. So I mean,
yeah.
everyone know who's Jade Starr in real, like, and I wanted to have like the same effect for PA, so people know who's PA, like the real one, before some copy comes out somewhere somehow.
It works perfectly. So I'm going to ask you. We're going to go through my usual 4 questions that I hit everybody with.
Sure.
PA, what does music mean to you?
Oh my God, just so much. I think the whole show doesn't is long isn't long enough to explain all. But when I broke it down, like it's my life. It's really, I breathe in and out for music. I dedicate all my free time, or others said, I take all the free time I have to just make as much music as possible, because it's sports, it's love, it's relationship, it's everything in one word for me. Everything which is life and gives life value and meaning. Like music is something which other people don't make in music maybe can understand, but when you would ask a ballerina what the shoes mean for her, she would say
Hmm.
everything. And when you ask somebody playing basketball what the ball means to them, they would say, hey, everything. And it's the same with me about music. It's, for me, everything.
Absolutely. I feel you 100%. I was only talking to, I think, Laurie's Mishmosh yesterday, and I actually wrote, and I've written this many times. If it wasn't for music, I'd probably at 50 years old be dead by now. That's it's a,
Absolutely.
it sounds harsh,
Absolutely.
you know. It sounds harsh, but it's true. Has there been a time where can you recall a moment or something in your lifetime where music has taken you from darkness, from a dark place to a much better place?
Oh, so often. So when I like was it was like I think 10 years ago. Thankfully I forget which year it was. there was a guy wanting to have my bag, my phone, my keys, my money, everything, and he just followed me a very, very long way home. And I just thankfully can survive that day, and there was no harm done on me or whatever. But on that day, I came home, I was scared, I was traumatized. I felt into a very great depression for years. And I just stand there and said to myself, hey, thank God there's music. There's something which can save you, which can just like bringing you into another world so you can find a kind of cure, because no therapist can just like put out like the whole life of a person is like a puzzle, and when some piece is broken, I think the other person can't understand why this broken piece is so broken, because the whole picture is broken. So, and it starts with the birth and it goes back to the childhood and like the adult phase and everything, and comes out like it's not only that day. The day was like bringing the glass to flow over. It was just like everything happened before. And when that day happened to me, I was like, okay, my life is done. I'm done. I lost friends. I lost home. I lost family. I lost everything which was important to me back then. So that day I had a normal life. And there was this one day where I said, hey, I want my life back. I want to be able to speak to people again, just like stopping that fear, stopping that trauma, just like fighting back to have a life. And that was where I decided, hey, there was a promise you did to yourself. Let's do it. And the rest of the story, I think the most of you guys know.
Talking of music being as such an influence in your life, and do you recall the music that was played in your household as a child by your family, and who were some of those artists, and have they influenced you?
For sure, for sure. And thank God my parents choose this kind of tunes. My dad always listens to Jimi Hendrix,
Nice.
and Jimi Hendrix was a very big influence when I was a little kid. It was everywhere. Like Jimi Hendrix was our whole day. And my mom couldn't sing lullabies or something, so she put like old nostalgic Turkish, very classic songs. And just like when I fall into sleep, I had all these kind of lyrics in my head. And what came out was like a totally disaster when I get older, because I don't listen to that. I just listen to something totally different. I come through hip hop and thrive somewhere into the pop punk world, came from there to alternative rock and stayed there till today. And I think it was like a whole journey through all the musicians possible to come to my ears. Like everything which was in the radio, I soaked in like can't don't find words for that.
I think you can definitely hear that in your music. There's a lot of varied influences in your music, and even like I was listening to your brand new single that you released, a couple of days ago. I think the video dropped a couple of days ago, and you even like talk about all these artists in the song too. And I'm like going, oh my god, listen to all these influences. Like, yeah, I wish I grew up in a house where Hendrix was my music that my family played. I feel
And my
jealous.
father was a little crazy guy. He's just like a typically Turkish person, which came to Germany with 9 years. And he was totally rock and roll. He had his keyboard. My mother has a very great voice, but she ended up being like the typical mom. And what came out was me. And when you put like these two people like combined into one people, what came out was me. But I had always like my own hat and ended up doing my own kind of music because there was nothing I always can relate to 100%. There's something, most songs which I didn't like. So I decided for myself to make songs which I can hear by myself, which I really like and can hear them 1 year later and still like them. So
Pay attention, folks, to that last comment. I say this all the time on this channel. Make the music that makes you happy. You have to like your own music, and don't ever let anybody tell you. Like, I remember when I was younger and I would listen to my own music, we'd record a CD in my band and I'd play it and have it on for like the next month, and I'd love listening to it. And I'd have these idiots say to me, "What a loser you are listening to your own music." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And like,
Absolutely.
you have to listen to it. If you don't like it, who the fuck else will like it?
Absolutely, absolutely. You have to, when you make music, it starts in your head and it goes next level with your ears. So your ears have to enjoy that. If it's the volume, if it's your mix which you created, or like simply the electronic instrument you choose, you have to like it first by yourself. I mean, 1 year ago I had songs which are sounding like they come from space, but to be honest, of some of them, I'm still laughing about them. But in that moment where I created them, I, I sit here and I was like, wow, that's the groove, like somewhere in space, flying above, like didn't found my statement back then. But it was like part of my journey, and I'm still proud of that song.
Absolutely. And even though someone like Madonna, who, is a big star and everything, I'm telling you, like, she listens back to some of those older albums and cringes herself. You have to leave that stuff out there too, so you know your journey and see where you come from. I had this friend who was releasing music, and they'd remove it when they released new stuff, and it'd be like, "What are you doing? You're erasing your history. You're erasing how you got to where you are." It's
Absolutely.
so
Absolutely.
baffling.
Never delete something, never delete. Like when you go like into my videos and scroll down to, like, I don't know, 1 or 2 years ago, you will find this stuff where you say, hey, is this really PA? Yeah, it really was. It was like imagine like you're in school and you're taking classes, and when you delete the first class, how you can end up being in the sixth grade. So like it's like a step, I think, and it's a puzzle coming together and creating one thing. And it's important to don't stop that progress in yourself and just like let others judge you for whatever you do. So like be your own best friend. Like when you make music, it's you and your instrument, it's nothing else.
Kim Harden Hudson's put in the chat here, "I threw out a CD of 4 originals from 2002. Kim, you need to go dumpster diving and find that. You need to find that. I want to say hello to everybody who's here in the chat. We've got 25 beautiful souls here in the chat. I'll call out your names soon, like we normally do, in about halfway through after the second song I play. So thank you all for being here. You guys rock. Do you recall, P.A, the first album that you ever purchased and the first album that was given to you as a gift?
So you mean with purchase, which I bought for myself?
With your own
Like,
money. With your own money.
I think I embarrass myself now, but it was a Britney Spears album. It was a Britney Spears album. I was 14 years old, and I think it was something with Didn't. Like it was like this brown cover where she is in the middle, and I came home, and I actually had a CD player with a cassette recorder under, and I just put some parts out. I think it was my first manual remix or something, and I just danced crazy to that. Can't move. I can't even move. Like I'm the worst dancer on this planet, and I just sit there listening to that song. So I was like, oh yeah, and I have my little Nintendo, and I put on headphones listening to Britney Spears and play Super Mario. This was like my whole childhood. Like always muting the background noise. I really mean that. I think I do this my whole life now. And it started with Britney Spears, very embarrassing. And yeah, and like the first real album that I bought, to say it like this, was a Good Charlotte album called The Young and the Hopeless. I was, I think, 14 years old, and it was the start of like my first rock influences back then. And yeah, it was Good Charlotte. So, and because of Good Charlotte is cool, I can be proud of that.
Good. I hit the wrong button. Good Charlotte, absolutely rock. And hey, I'm not going to judge on Britney. I have every Britney Spears album. I'm a metalhead and I don't give a shit. Leave Britney alone. And I know Brad Example, who's here in the chat, Brad loves Britney Spears a little too much. A little too much. Don't you, Brad? Brad Example loves Britney Spears. So great albums to kick off your career with. Now, I'm going to cut. We're going to play a song, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about like how you got into singing and that kind of stuff. I'm going to play now because you mentioned that you got into Good Charlotte, and that opened the box to all this alternative music. I'm going to play, of course, Pandora's Box. Do you want to tell us a little bit about this track of yours before we play it?
Yes. Pandora's Box was the song with which I started to take myself serious as Pi.A. I said, okay, let's open everything with Heard It and put it all together with not being scared and just walking like in that dark path somewhere in the woods and you don't know where it ends. And this was my Totally Darkness song. There's my own trauma in it, my depressions, my heartbreaks, everything is in it. And I'm blaming like society for that, which I mostly do. And yeah, I'm interested to hear or read if somebody else have a Pandora's box and if somebody else wants to open up about it, like what are your best or worst things which you have inside of you which are stopping you from growth. So
all right, guys, buckle in, grab your hats, grab whatever it is, your drinks, settle in for a moment. We're going to play Pandora's Box by Pi.A, and we'll see you back here shortly. Let's do this, Pandora's Box. Boom. Boom.
Why do you think everything's just the way it is?
Nobody's feeling that way. We become what we create.
Why do you think that society's offending some?
Nobody is born that way. We become what we create.
And that the silence is a big black magic box,
Hiding all the fears inside. Hiding all the tears inside.
imagination is creating just a mess to hide.
Imagination is creating just a past inside.
Imagination is creating just a pest inside.
Hiding all the fears inside. Hiding all the tears inside.
White, mind, find, fight, tried, cried, hide. We pretend to be beautiful. We pretend to look beautiful. Inside we are ghostly. Never open Pandora's box. We pretend to be beautiful. We pretend to look beautiful. Why do you think everything's just the way it is?
Nobody's feeling that way. We become what we create.
Why do you think that society's offending some?
Nobody is born that way. We become what we create.
And that the silence is a big black magic box.
Hiding all the fears inside. Hiding all the tears inside.
Imagination is creating just a mess to hide. Imagination is creating just a pest inside. Imagination is creating just a mess to hide. We pretend to be beautiful. We pretend to look beautiful. Inside we are ghostly. Never open Pandora's box. We pretend to be beautiful. We pretend to look beautiful. Inside we are ghostly. Never open Pandora's box.
There we are. I was running a bit slow there. I was filling up my vape. I got busted.
I did the same, but I was faster than you.
I grabbed the wrong juice bar. What are you vaping, by the way? What juice are you
I'm
vaping?
vaping a self-mixed blueberry, which is not mixed by me. I'm not like, it looks like a little yellow, but you have blueberry too?
I'm doing blueberry sherbet today. Blueberry sherbet.
Oh, so okay, we're the blueberry ladies today.
Absolutely rocking the blueberry today. I know there's a lot of people here who vape as well. So let us know in the chat what you're vaping. It's good to know that
Yes.
there's more people vaping. That's less deaths. So I always, when I see somebody vaping, I'm like, oh, thank God, that's somebody who's going to be here a little bit longer. I
Yeah.
saw on the news the other
And not
day.
smelling bad, like people vaping, smelling always good, like
Absolutely.
fruity,
I saw
like
an article yesterday that they're putting vape on the NHS in the UK now. It's going to go ahead. And they're going to do it here. They're going to actually do it here too. Good stuff. They need to reverse all the bullshit. All right, so
we Germans always need money, so our government decided to put the same amount of tax onto vaping,
oh
like
what?
it was on cigarettes. Like they want us to smoke again. But on the other side, they just try to be climate neutral, which I don't understand, but it's okay. That's we Germans are like this. We do things not fitting together. It's always the same.
The whole world's like that at the moment. I think I think, and speaking of that, the whole world not being together. Well, hang on, I'll hold that thought. Let's say hello to everybody who's here in the chat. I'll go over here, guys. Put anything in the chat right now so I can reach you. And anything, even if it doesn't make sense, and I can give you a roll call. We can do the whole roll call. So who's here? We've got Leela, Lou Reality. We've got Mr. Smith. We've got Doorways into
Hi.
Music. We've got Frank Terzo. We've got Thomas Christ, Russ
Hey,
8889, JDL. Hugh Caldwell is here. I saw Pete Johns. We've got Folk Punk. We've got the Falcrow. I'm trying to keep up with everyone. Gregory O'Sullivan is here. We've got SM Borthwick, Kim Harden Hudson. I saw Brad Example here as well. If I've missed you, just type your name and I can catch you, and that'll make my life easier.
something in my ear, in my eye.
And Laurie's Mishmosh comes in straight away and you get something in your eye. We've got Joe Glenn is
Yes.
here as well. Hi, Laurie. Hi, Joe. Hi to anyone else who I may have missed. I'm trying to scroll through and
Hi
see if
to
I've missed.
everybody.
You guys rock.
So unfortunately, I can't read the chat. It's very small on my side. So Jade, you're the only one can read it right now.
Yeah,
So
I'm trying to put the
there's
comments.
something I need to know.
I'm trying to put the comments on the screen. So set up by Marshall is here. Conspiracy Music Clay is here, who's playing all our music lately, which is awesome. There's so many channels playing people's music. It's fantastic. And Laurie gets here and smoke gets in my eye. Hi, Laurie. I'm actually doing a collaboration with Laurie at the moment, which nobody knows about. Now you all know about it. Boom. So
Wow.
let's talk.
So hey, well, you have that applause button, right? So when you announce things, just like put it.
We've got the horn, we've got everything. Speaking, I just want to go back to what I was hanging on, if my brain can remember. Yeah, so one of the things that really got me interested in your music was my affinity with you, of my hatred for the world. Not hatred, but just the way the world is going at the moment. There's a lot of that, it seems like, in your music, that you have this feeling that there's unrest, there's problems, but I also get hope from your music, that it's not all lost. So do you want to tell us about that?
And like, imagine, wait, I just have, for everybody, I have to fix that eye. Something is in there.
You got an eyelash or something.
So,
Damn you,
I
eyelash.
think I can see now a little with it. So I think, like, imagine a person standing somewhere in totally darkness in the woods, and it carries like a huge stone on it, like being like this, and can't even breathe, can't even walk. And this stone can be family, it can be love, which never was like going the way you wanted, like an ex, or I don't know, like abuse, or like being like like when somebody punch you in a relationship or something, like can all be these things, or like I don't know, bad things in general, which cause somebody not being the real self. Like, I don't know, imagine like you don't have the best figure and you always wanted to wear a red dress and everybody laughing at you, like, because you don't look perfect, you're not skinny enough, or I don't know, you don't look like the media wanted you to look or whatever. And someday you wanted to say, or you say to yourself, hey, today's the day where I want to try this out. I really want to wear that red dress and I'm stop caring about what other people think of me. So this is like the whole thing going in my head when I make a song. I really think about like, can it help somebody, or can I just speak with the soul inside, like having that real talk with that soul, not with the person, like with the real person inside, just like helping to get this real soul out of that body, just like to make that person glow and shine like the light. So, and this is why I said we need the darkness to become the light. Like the darkness is something we all have in life. There's nobody can tell me there's no dark spot in their life. They're always happy and everything is birds and bees and whatever. It's like there is that something, and I visualize it with a black cloud being on your head and just like following you everywhere. So you can fly to Japan and it's still there, and you can sleep at night and it's sleeping next to you, and you decide if you want to fight this dude, or say, hey, I don't want to fight you, I don't want to ignore you, I just want to understand why you pop up in my life. So, and just like changing that negativity inside caused from factors from the outside, like as I mentioned, like people broke you, people change you for the negative, and you stand up and say, hey, no, 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 I just don't want to listen to that anymore, I just wanted to be myself.
I don't know how to even respond to that. That's perfect. You know, I look at the world as like a waveform. You know, you look at a wave or a sine wave form, and it goes like this. And
Absolutely.
if these are the ups and these are the downs, and it's all the way through life you're going to get this sine wave. I think the trick is to surround yourself with people to get that sine wave to just be a little bit more like this instead of like this. You know,
Absolutely, totally agree. Like just like when you wake up in the morning and you have like this mirror in front of you in the bathroom and you just look into it, that you like the people you see in it, like I'm not talking about if you have the best and biggest eyes and best lips or whatever, like your smile, can you smile to yourself? Can you apologize with yourself, like say, hey, okay, it was a bad day, or I was mean to somebody, like being honest, like being really really honest with yourself and saying, hey, I just want to make it better today, and I'm not mad at myself, I can understand myself, I was nervous, I had a bad day, and so I just do something bad, or just like do something I wished I did others. But there's always the next day, you can always become better, you can always become your own version 2.0. And this is what I try to show with my music, and this is what I try to show with my character. Like you can change if you want to.
I couldn't agree more. And it's a good segue because I'm going to go back to school where a lot of this stuff stems in our lives because, you know, hey, school's a horrible place. It's a place of learning, but it can really fuck with your head and take you down a life path that can, you know, be
Absolutely.
hard to rewrite, you know, because we're constantly rewriting the code of who we are. So when you were at school, were you an outcast? Were you one of these people were you a black sheep? Did you not fit in at school?
Oh, I put totally not in. But the thing was, like, I grew up in the 90s, and I was in, like, when I was came like into my teen years, when I was 16, 15 years old, everybody loved Nike, and everybody loved, I don't know, this neon pink lipstick and neon like gloves. They just like mesh gloves, and people come like this into school. And I don't know. I always, my whole plan when I was little was, how can I die fast? Like I just
Wow.
saw a window and I go to that window and I was like, oh, when I jump out, did I die or what happened to me? Like I was always a little depressed. And I had a Yappy account back then and I named it Depressed Desire.
Oh,
So I was
wow.
like a little on other waves, really totally drowned in my own darkness with 16. And when I saw these happy, shiny people, and they were always like, oh, I'm so beautiful. And everybody, like the stomachs of all these women were out because it was so in, because Paris Hilton wore it back then. And I hated it. And it was my beginning with Good Charlotte, and Good Charlotte were always dressed black. And I found it cool. They were guys, and I adapt that to me as a woman and try to dress like them. And maybe nowadays I'm ashamed of that fact, but back then it was my biggest influence and it started making me becoming the darker version. And so I came into school dressed black and have like a Satan pentagram on my
Yes.
neck. And I came in like that, and everybody was scared of me. And they asked
Yes.
me if I pray to Satan. And I say, yes, sure. And I drink blood when I come home. No problem of that. And I'm a very religious person, and when I go out of school, I really start laughing the whole way back home because people really believe me that I'm a Satan, like praying to Satan. And I let them all in the belief because I had then the possibility to be alone. Like I have my quiet spots, nobody interrupt it, can hang with my band, and it was cool. And 1 year later, the most people look like me. They're all dressed black. They're all
Oh,
I don't know what happened. So everybody wants to be like a Satan or I don't know. It was pretty interesting for me to see that was kind of influencing that one person did it and then kind of part of the school followed, and but it nerfed me when I was younger.
if there's any younger people watching this who are at school right now and you're getting bullied for being unique and individual and everyone's saying what you do
Stay like
sucks,
this.
trust me, in 5 years' time, they will be you and you will not
Yes.
understand it. It happens to most people. It happened to me. I listened to metal when I was in high school and everybody were like, stupid metalhead, Metallica sucks. And they were all so angry. And then as soon as we got through school, finished year 12 and all graduated, all those people I would run into all wearing Metallica t-shirts. I'm like, what the hell? Because
Yeah.
I think we live in a world where people like to hate who they want to be themselves.
Yeah, the thing is, I don't want to be bad to somebody. Like I don't know who the guys think in the chat, but my opinion is like people adapt to listen to bullshit, and it starts with bullshit music and
Yep.
it goes on to like imagine like your head is a trash bin and you throw everything in. Like there's no filter, there's no security on the door saying no, you can't come in. And this is exactly what happens to 16-year-olds and 15-year-olds when they turn on MTV, when they turn on, I don't know, other medias like Instagram. Instagram is the biggest brainwashing platform on Mother Earth. But unfortunately, it has one good part, and this is like connecting to people, which I really love. And just I try to build my platform there to like make only a connection, like having mostly things going on in my DM and just like snippets of my videos to post. And but I imagine like when I see these pictures, they are posted there, Photoshop, that everything is bigger than natural. I'm not quite sure if this is a good influence for kids trying to find the real you inside and just like seeing all that things and trying to be and look like that fake pictures. So
Yeah, and look, I'm sure if Facebook were watching this and you just said that Instagram was the biggest platform at the moment, they'd love you right now because TikTok's kicking their ass. But it's the same. It's the same thing. Yeah, you look around and everybody has this need to be bigger and better than what they are, and it must be really hard at the end of the day to look in the mirror when
yes,
nobody's watching and see the facade. I don't understand how people live that way. It must be quite traumatizing.
I mean, I think it goes back to our human roots. Like a human feels better when he's in a group. It's the same with animals. Like when you have one bird or you have like one dog, they love to be in groups. And to be fit in into a group means to say yes to the group rules. And the group rules on Mother Earth are try to be like your neighbor. Don't never try to be something others, because when you try to do that, the people tell you that you're crazy, that you're weird, that you, I don't know, Grinch maybe. And I'm not absolutely sure if this is a good way to influence people when they're younger, because when you're grown up, you try to clean that shit back up. And I think it's better when you're younger to be yourself and listen to your heart, like what you want. Like when the trend is, I don't know, to wear violet lipstick, please do me a favor and wear the color you want. So
100%. I'm going to play another song, and this is called "Broken Philosophy." What do you want to tell us a little bit about
it's
this before we
perfect.
play it? I know I'm picking songs from our topics.
Yeah, like broken philosophy is like that day when somebody is realizing, okay, I do it all the way down wrong. I get kids because everybody else had kids. I'm married because everybody else married. I don't know. I bought a cat because everybody around me have a cat, and then someday you realize, and then someday you realize that this is not what you wanted for your life. You wanted something totally different and end up being 9 to 5 like everybody else. And this is what broken philosophy is about, like that moment when you realize that everything's broken and you start to fight that inner fight. It's like that starting day.
Let's do it, guys. This is "Broken Philosophy" by Pi.A. We'll see you back here shortly. Enjoy. Boom. Boom.
Boom.
This is Pi.A. Pronounce it alternative, baby. They try to classify me, try to satisfy the bolded and fulfilled version of the life they want me to live in and fit in till my time is up. But I'm thread within the dark I'm in and totally lost control. Thought I was in control, but I said I don't think so. My mind is running up and down. How till I hear this sound raw through the noise. Shake me up, wake me up till the sun set and everything is turning red. And then fades into black. Broken philosophy. A dark world, the cold of the unseen souls fading down into the sky. Time doesn't wait, only gets less time by time. What is right? What seems to be right? What is life? Broken philosophy. A dark world, the cold of the unseen souls fading down into the sky. Time doesn't wait, only gets less time by time. They try to classify me, try to satisfy the bolded and fulfilled version of the life they want me to live in and fit in till my time is up. But I'm thread within the dark I'm in and totally lost control. Thought I was in control, but I said I don't think so. My mind is running up and down. How till I hear this sound? Broken philosophy. A dark world, the cold of the unseen souls fading down into the sky. Time doesn't wait, only gets less time by time. Living in, fitting in till my time is up. But I'm thread within the dark I'm in. Totally lost control. I'm totally lost control. But I said I don't think so.
Boom. And we're back. I saw you bopping away to your own music and it made me smile so big.
I just always, I don't know, it's like it's my dance away the pain songs. And it really they were created to have that energy, just like 1 to 100, that you're like, oh wow, let's go.
Damn straight. So all my questions are around the wrong way today, and I love that because I love flying by the seat of my pants. So did you take singing lessons at school or anything? Was there a music course that you were a part of that got you into music?
Um, I have a very special connection with choirs, because on the most choirs they kick me out. Um, they kicked me out because I was too loud and my voice doesn't fit in.
I
And
thought it was because of
after,
your love of Satan.
no, like when I bought my first Britney Spears album, I go on stage the first time with I Love Rock and Roll in her version, um, which was not this bad, but I was so shaky and my voice was so shaky that I laughed about myself while singing, and I think this was not good for the audience. But yeah, so for me, it was always like I have always this thing that I doesn't fit in, like from my voice, from my voice notes, like from the depths of my voice. And then after that bad day happened to me, there was like a gospel choir, and I go there with my friend together with my tattoo artist friend, and there was like this wonderful woman, rest in peace, Queen Yana was her name, and she came from the Broadway, and she said, "Hey, I can tell you why you just were kicked out of all that choirs and ended up being in a rock band, because you have a very, very um, rare voice, and this rare voice doesn't fit in, and this is but something unique, and you can make something out of it." And she really put light into that situation, and yeah, I never had vocal lessons in my life, never. Whatever you hear is like my own creations. And I know with a vocal teacher, I can do a lot more, but it ended up being like it is. And if I had a big amount of money, I would take vocal lessons because being better in technique is always a good thing, but it's so expensive.
And hard to find a vocal teacher that's going to understand you as well, because it's like finding a good therapist. You can't just go to a therapist. You have to connect with somebody as well. I find that also. But hey, you're doing something
Absolutely.
right. So, and there's that people out there say, "Oh, you need vocal lessons." Some people just naturally have a vocal range. Some people can just do it. It is what it is. So I don't think you need any vocal lessons at this point if you're doing all right. Because the thing is, you've got to understand your voice as a singer. Your voice you're a living instrument. And you have to
Absolutely.
understand your eating, your sleeping habits, how healthy you are. Because if you're treating yourself like shit, you're going to sound like shit.
Absolutely. Like the emotions are like, I don't know, like when you have a guitar and you just like go for the notes, like first I don't know, it calls in English like first sight is E, and so on and so on. And when you want to, like, without vocal lessons, when you want to know what your voice can do, be in a good mood, like don't let negativity influence your singing. Like I know a lot of people like are perfectly guitar players and keyboard and whatever, and when it comes to singing they always want but are too scared to let out what's inside. Like for example, I think when I'm not wrong, I have four octaves which I can use, but like the fourth, it's cracked because it's not trained. And there's like
Hmm.
one certain note, which is like a half note in between, which is always struggling me like to get it. And when I feel good, it comes out. I can't control it, but it's there. But when I don't feel good, it gets totally lost, and I can I don't know, sit here 1 hour and try to get that note out of me, didn't come. So I think like the mindset is more important than like the actual talent you have, like being like bold when you do something and just like stay true to your voice. Like I often heard I can't sing in my life often, and I never give up. So I never listen to that negativity. I just go like with myself, with my own flow.
Absolutely. And deep gravity's written here in the chat. I have to work really hard to get my voice bearable, which is bullshit. In his opinion, of course. Getting vocal lessons is one of the best decisions he's made. And I've said this on this channel before too. I used to teach singing, and when I'd get people come in to learn, if they walked in and said, "Hello, I'm all my friends tell me I'm a great singer," I'd be like, "Oh my God, this is going to be terrible." It's the people who come in and have that self-doubt are the people that there's opportunity, right? But it is, you're right, exactly what you said. It is about understanding what your limits are and then working within them. And then when you're feeling it, when you're feeling like, yes, I'm on fire, you can hit those notes. It does come down to confidence.
Absolutely. And like, I don't know, we have Fender guitars, and we have, I don't know, other marks of guitars, for example. And it's the same with the voice. Not everybody is Mariah Carey, not everybody is, I don't know, like what else we have? Like Jimi Hendrix. Like Jimi Hendrix is not the best singer, but the guy has the boldness. And I think a singer has to figure out if you're a Ferrari or if you're a Toyota. What are you? Like you have to find your spot. And like when I reflect on myself, I have a soul voice, which is totally hearable in ballads when I sing them. For example, with my friend B2Fab together, you can hear that soul. Or I have 2 albums with my friend Pioneers, and they are completely 1000% soul. Like when you listen to that, you say, okay, is this PA? Yeah, it really is. Like this is like my natural tone is soul-y, it's melancholy, and this is like my uniqueness. And you have to figure out what you have. When I would try to be Ariana Grande, I would suck so hard that nobody would listen to my songs. So just like be what your voice is giving out of it. Like don't try to be something else.
Yeah, look, it seems like a message that is really consistent with all your music. That to be you, to and
Yes,
that's I love it.
absolutely.
I love it. It's what I try and say in all my songs too. Be you, be true. Like don't be anybody else. You'll just live somebody else's shoes, and they'll stink on your feet. You know.
Yes,
So
yes, absolutely. Like they're people, they're feet for Vans. They should wear Vans. I love Vans. I can everybody say like wear old school retro clothes and don't like perms or whatever high heels. Stop that. Don't like be what fits best to you, to your body. Like God has give everybody a unique body, a unique voice, a unique hair, whatever. But I don't know, like making lips bigger, making eyes, I don't know, fake lashes, whatever, like too much of it. Like when you want to, I don't know, line something like what we women are doing, like when we line our eyes or whatever. This is natural beautiness still, but don't try to change what you are. It doesn't look authentic, and people will recognize that and start disliking you because you try to be somebody you're not. Like,
absolutely, I couldn't agree more. So we're at the point now. So I've got 2 options. What should we do? Let me have a look here. What have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to play another song, and then I'm going to come back and do our DistroKid ad read. We'll do that, and then we'll get into the second half of the channel. So, because I want to get through all these songs here, and they're not too long. That's what makes life easy. You've got really bite-sized songs, perfect for radio. So, radio, if you're
yes,
listening out there,
it's like the new wave. It's like 2.5 minutes because the people have no time in life, and we have to speed this up. So when you hear a 3 minute song of me, then it has to be really smashing because otherwise it will be 2 minutes.
absolutely. I'm going to play Flushed Chest. What's this song all about?
Flushes is a very personal song. It's about my ex-boyfriend, about the starts we have when, I mean, I wrote my first song when I was 6 years old, but I really make music when I was 15 years old. I had a band back then. And when we split up, my ex-boyfriend and I just keep on going with the band Flush Chest. And what this song is about, you can hear and read in the lyrics because they describe everything what Flush Chest is about.
I love that about your music. It's very direct. You know what's going on. You know what you're getting. There's no hidden costs.
Honesty is a big part of my songs, because I hate the fakeness, like on social media. I hate the fakeness in media in general, like in society, and I just try to be an example of honesty, and that you don't have to be scared even on the internet to just be yourself.
Boom. Exactly. All right, guys. Chill out. We got another song, and then I'm going to come back, talk a little bit about DistroKid, and we'll continue on with the interview. Let's do it. Flash chest. Oh yeah.
Flash test.
Your hands, your crazy mind, your influence, our past. Yes, that love didn't kill me, and I can do it now, all by myself. I didn't need you now. The memories still catch up with me. Out of nowhere, I'm drowning in self-pity. Do you remember you were next to my train? Do you remember the first song we made? In the middle of the night on a rooftop in the dark, only you and me, an electric guitar. Your hands were quick and I was so impressed. Like I'm sitting with Kurt Cobain himself. No, I don't need you now. Need no morning coffee or a flash chest emoji. No, I don't need all your good advice. Need no goodbyes. Need no cheat on me. I agree you were always better. Darkness was not only killing me, but I was right. You are not good for me. No, I don't need you now. Need no morning coffee or a flash chest emoji. No, I don't need all your good advice. Need no goodbyes. Need no cheat on me. You stab me in my back, you never appreciate. You stab me in my back, you never appreciate. And now it's about a bloody gap in my brain. You are the void, a bloody gap in my brain.
Hello. All right, guys, it's that time of the show where I'm going to tell you a little bit about DistroKid. And I've got something special to show you today if I get all my stuff organized here. Boom, here's the right screen. No, it's the wrong screen. It's this one. We're all happening. So today's show is, as I mentioned, sponsored by DistroKid. We love DistroKid. Thank you for sponsoring the show. As always, you can use the code or the link, which is distrokid.com/Jade Starr, VIP/Jade Starr. Get it right. I'm all over the place today. Where's my little DistroKid thing? There it is over there. See, over in the corner. And you get 7% off your year, your first year, if you choose one of these plans. Now I'm going to show you something that you may need to use one day. So you may go up and upload your music to DistroKid, and here's my DistroKid page where I have all my music across 6 bands I think I've got on here these days. So I've got a lot of music. And recently I uploaded a new song by Metheist here called Hunger. Now I previously had a Metheist album up called World Divided. Now I stupidly made the mistake when I uploaded this new album and I spelt Metheist a little bit different. I used different capitalization. So when it went out to all the stores, nearly all the stores, well, most of them all understood, except Spotify. Spotify got a little bit confused and it created 2 pages for me. because one metheist was a capital M and E, and the other one was a capital M and small e. And I was like, how do I fix this? How do I do this myself? I don't want to deal with people. I don't want to send an email and freak the hell out. Well, and I also had the same issue with my track from Kindercore. See here, I'll zoom in a bit. Can I do it? See here, Kindercore has a capital K in the middle, but the original track I uploaded was a small k. So I had this dilemma, and Spotify had 2 pages. I'm going to show you how I fixed it up all by myself. All by myself. All right, so the way I did this was there is a little section in here. If you go to goodies, and I think it is helpful when needed. Is that where it is? And it's called Fixer. It's the Fixer. The fix is in, folks. So you can click on that and it takes you to this page over here. And it asks you, what needs fixing? It's pretty cool. What needs fixing? So you got a little drop-down box here. When you click on it, it says, my music is on the incorrect page, or someone else's music is incorrectly on my page. So clearly my music was on an incorrect page. So I click this and it gives you this whole section here. Select a store. Cool. It's on Spotify. Great. Which artist? And as you can still see, I'm still dealing with this. I've intentionally left this for you so you can see the method. I have 2 metheists. Look at this. Metheist small e and metheist large e. On Spotify, it's created 2 of them. So how did I do this? First, what I did was I went into my albums over here, and I found the album that was incorrect, and I edited it. I went into the edit screen, so it was world divided. Here's the album, and I went in and I hit edit release. And you can do this once an album's up. And I went and did all that, hit edit release, and it's still processing at the moment. So if I click on that, if I can click on it, it still says review pending. So I've changed this to the capital E to match the other artist. So it's pending, should take a couple more days, takes sometimes up to a week, and that goes to all the stores and fixes the names so they're both the same. So the metadata is exactly the same. Then once that's done, I can go in here, select the artist. So it says which music is on the incorrect page. So I would go to this one down here, or this, pick the one that you want, and you want to move it. But here's where it gets a bit odd, because it says, do you already have an artist page? Yeah, I do. Cool. And now it asks you for this URI, this Spotify URI. And if you don't know how to find this, this can be really frustrating. But DistroKid make it super easy, yeah? So I'm going to click over this page and show you how you can find that right now. You go to goodies, you go to helpful when needed, and look at this. There's a Spotify looker-upper. I love DistroKid. They're so cool. You go to your looker-upper and look, you can put in the album and it gives you all of the links, the songs on the album, the artist, and you can just copy this and put that in so that you can go and fix your album that way. Now, once you do all of that, if you really want to make sure everything's fine, here's another piece of advice. You can always head over to this page here, which is artists.spotify.com/en/contact. And you can scroll down and hit message us and get straight into a live chat with them, and they will help you make sure those 2 channels, songs or albums are moved to the right place. So you don't need to message DistroKid. You don't need to freak out and bother them with emails. You can do it all yourself. DistroKid try and make it super easy in case something goes wrong, because accidents happen sometimes, yeah? And you just got to get on with it and not get too upset and just sort it out and breathe and be happy. All right. Thank you, DistroKid, for sponsoring the show as always. I hope that's helped you. The fix is really handy if anything gets a little confused. And you can do that anytime. Let's bring in our guest for today, Pi.A. Welcome back.
Yes, here I am.
All right. I want to ask you about, now you've mentioned this a couple of times, before Pi.A became a thing, you played in a whole bunch of bands. So what was the age you started
Yes.
playing music and you started doing gigs?
So like when I was 14, I was like in that choir where I don't stay for long. because they kicked me out. I was too loud. And I think 1 year later, I ended up in a rock band from the school, and like there was like this guitar guy, which I mentioned like in Flushes as Kurt Cobain guy, because he, when you grow older, you get like more into like Kurt Cobain. But
Yeah.
back then we were just like kids, and we meet there and we just go on having a band called Intifada, which is maybe not a good band word, but we were so influenced from Rage Against the Machine that we wanted to have some heavy things. But we do this for a couple of years, and when Universal wanted to see us play live, like the manager wanting to come, just like get like his wife give birth to his first son, and he never came there. And then the same night we split up because we figured out we have like different goals for the band, and I continued with the guitar guy. And after so many years making music together, I mean, I learned how to use FL Studio from him, and just like melodies and notes and like all these basic stuff I learned from him, and which I'm already very thankful for because it's the base of my work. And yeah, after that, I started PA very quick with a guitar, a microphone, and something to record, like very old fashioned, and put out a demo tape called Take It to the Grave, I think 4 years ago, 5 years ago. And the rest of the story you guys know.
So, how have you changed with recording these days? What do you use to actually record your music?
I'm very like, everything should be easy on my side, because making my kind of music is like very like experimental. Sometimes I do totally weird stuff, but it came out very good. And I'm very easy and simple. I have a road to record. Like I can show, wait, I bring in my microphone because I'm in my studio right now. This is my microphone.
Nice.
Every song is created with it. It's a very good and low budget microphone for home studios, which I love. And I have a Yamaha interface, which you can use when you want to play, like, for example, on the street and you have an amp, and you can just like put then your microphone with the interface directly to the amp, or you can record with it, like having like this extra special, a little echo and reverb and whatever. And I record everything with Audacity. It's so simple, but you have to make the extra work. You have to cut out that little second, which is always like making the delay when you record, and you have to adjust very much. After that, you have to cut out hardly briefing parts, because Audacity is just like record and stop. You can't do nothing else. I could record in FL directly, but I hate that it's, I don't know, I've always had the feeling it takes out my vibe because I ever recorded without a city. And so I keep on doing that. And it's maybe like unprofessional to work with that, but I really enjoy like hearing myself very crisp, and then just like cut out what doesn't fit there and adjust that or sing it again, just like have like directly two of them sounds better. And then I put it into FL and create there everything.
I don't think it's unprofessional at all. I mean, say it on this channel. I mean, even though this show is based around iOS, I think I always say you got to use what you're comfortable with. I mean, unless you choose to step outside of that box. I mean, Pete John says it all the time. It's all ones and zeros. It's all the same
Yes.
digital audio, just with a different interface. It's the finished product that's the most important thing, and ease of use for you. It's interesting because I've never used Audacity, but I have a million copies
Yeah.
of it from buying hardware. Every time I buy something, there's a free copy of Audacity, but I've never installed it anywhere. I don't know why.
I don't know. I think when people start buying too many things, like when you have not one audio interface, when you have, I don't know, 4 or 5, it's wasted money. And I don't know, Mother Earth feels not good to have much trash on it. So when you want to buy something, like read descriptions about it, look on the internet what other people use, and don't try to have like, I don't know, 10 or 10 things for the same thing. It always depends on what you want to reach, like what did you need. And in my case, I needed a very good audio interface, and I'm proud to put this money together to be able to bought it. And Outer City was enough for what I wanted to do, because I wanted to record my voice as it is. But for sure, FL Studio has that function, like with that automatizations. I don't know how to translate that word. Like you can make chains, and like it automatically finds out where it's too loud or whatever, and just like you can put out like your briefings automatically and all that stuff. But for me, it was part of my flow to do it every time the same, just to remind me of how I started. And I think an artist should have its own way of creation. There's no right or wrong to do something. It's like how it works best for you and your vocals.
Couldn't agree more. I'm going to pop over to your website now because there is something. So here is your website, and folks,
I have a website, but still don't bought the domain because it's too expensive.
Is it expensive over there? How expensive over there is it to buy a domain?
It's monthly 80 euros, which is $80 kind of thing. And it's too much for me, because when I bought I have a couple of goals, like for Pi.A long-term goals. And one of the first thing is to tattoo this name somewhere to stamp myself as original. And the second is to bought that domain, but I only do it when I really have like fans following me, and just like this little group of people like being with me and having the hands on my shoulders and hey Pi.A, let's go. And before that, it's too much for me, because in the moment I don't have much people look into my website. So and it may be because of the domain is not no professional domain. I'm not quite sure. So
That's I can send you some links to some cheap domains. Trust me, I can help you out with that.
This is good.
There are cheap alternatives out there. Absolutely, even just for a .com, like that's the cheapest way to go. Depends if you
Yeah, sure.
a .com is definitely the cheapest way to go. So here's your website though, and there's something I want to ask you about, because I love artists who come up with their own lore, their own like little world that is your own. And when I read your website for the first time, I see we need the darkness to become the light. Cloud above your head? Question mark. Then I welcome you into the Cloud Fighter world. Tell me about this Cloud Fighter world, Pi.A.
Yes, I created like I don't know, like I think many artists are watching, like every musician has like this own thing in their head how they wanted it. And I really try hard to put out of my head with what is actually like inside of my head, like turn it outside for people to be able to see. And I call it, because of that, CloudFighters world. Like imagine my world, like everything is dark and there's only me, and above me is this black cloud, just like following me and having this very, very hard talks with me, like, Pi.A, you can't do it. You're not talented enough for this, or you don't look like Barbie, or whatever this cloud is telling to me. Like imagine that. And when you're a cloud fighter, you have like this possibility to push it away, like with yourself, with your soul and everything. And this is why I called my world Cloud Fighters world, because everybody joining that have the same abilities as me, in my opinion.
I think it's wonderful. I love this part of your bio too that says, let's make therapy without therapists, and the cloud following us around the symbol for this. All we need is honesty when we're facing the mirror to understand what the cloud is wanting to tell us. I really adore this. I think it's just beautiful. It really encapsulates your
Thank
music
you.
really well. And as soon as I went to this website, the first thing I did was go down here and I became a cloud fighter. I signed up. Where is it? I can't find
Yeah.
it. There it is. I put my
I
name.
saw, I get a little notification. I was like, cool. And I don't know what happened. I sent it out a newsletter for 2 days, but then I get like the mail that it doesn't make its way to you. I don't know if it's in spam or something because this is like no professional website, but I try to build it as professional and for sure the newsletters too. But I don't know, it flows somewhere in space and doesn't came through.
We- we'll talk more about that because I've got my one too, and my one does that as well. Pete's the one. Pete Johns is a legend with all this, so I recommend you guys click. And thanks, Thomas, for putting the link in. So make sure you go over there. Become a cloud fighter, guys. Become a
Yes,
cloud fighter. It is the way to go.
everybody is appreciated to step into that world. My dream is to build a little community here on my Wix site, just to like have a space, like a safe zone where people can talk about their darkness and just like share, like a therapy zone where you can talk to me or to others being in this. Like there is this function where you can just like have a group chat which is safe and only me can read it. Like you can write me a DM through it. It will come to me with an email, and so we can talk about that. I'm always open for people's stories, where they come from, what their goals are, and if there's something where they need more light on it. So because in that case, I think I'm the right person because I really understand where the darkness comes from. I'm still at the dark place, so find a friend in me, jump over to my website.
Absolutely. And all the links to PA's music is in the description. So make sure you go and listen to all of that. There's a link tree. There's everything. You can find every single thing there. Subscribe to her on YouTube, all that stuff. If you don't, I'm coming for you. So what I want to talk about too, I always talk with every guest on here since we went through the inconvenience, as I call it, the COVID that hit the world. How did you go through that whole experience with your creativity, with your mental health? What went on in your world through that time?
I like the people around me just fell into holes. They start become thicker, or I don't know, just like getting depressed or just being negative about the situation. Much people around me were scared and talking about every day, oh my God, what happened when I get the coronavirus? And I don't know, I feel very peace and quiet. And I lost my job back then, so I really had 24 hours, and this is what I used to speed up my level. Just like making a song every day was the goal, and I ended up making a song in, I don't know, I think 8 days. It called Heaven's Calling. It was a very tough song. It was like needed much work from my side to make it sound glued together and sounded like in a good mix. And I mean, now I'm able to do a song in 4 hours, and I really used that 2 years to speed up my level, to gain experience, to find out what I can do else, and I used that 2 years to find my own way of making music. I used that time wise.
It's really interesting because everyone who watches these interviews every week, which I thank you for supporting the channel as always. It's a common thread that during this time when the whole world was in chaos and people were dying around us and there was uncertainty and fake news was spreading like no tomorrow and conspiracies were everywhere. There was so much division and so much going on. And yet there was this beautiful world of artists who could finally go and make stuff. And but at the same time, there was no avenue for artists to play live and do that stuff. So, but by the time the world opened up, artists hopefully are now playing live. So I think it was really incredible for all the pain that went on in it. So I'm hopefully, like, you've got a job back out of it. I mean, that's the worst thing, that people lost their jobs out of it. So are you back to normal now?
Yes, I found a job as personal assistant after that. I hope you guys can hear me because I'm out of charge and have to put here my cable into the phone.
I can crank
If
you up
not,
and make you a little bit louder, so we're good, I think.
yes, I think this could help because I can hear you guys not good because my phone went out of charge. It was 100% and it's now on 5%.
You probably need a new
Um,
battery.
Yes,
Yeah.
I really need. Oh, wait. I think I get myself louder. Can you guys hear me still?
Yeah, we can hear you. I've got you cranked up really loud anyway.
Perfect. Okay. So when everybody can hear me, that's
Sure
good.
can.
So yeah, I found a job as personal assistant, which is what I learned someday somehow. Ended up being the third hand of a boss, which I hate mostly, but I have to do. I have to make a living, and I found out that being a PA and like PA, as you know, with the I in between, is a pretty funny coincidence. And I ended up making songs about it, just like to feel better.
So,
And now, like next month, I'm changing my job to other company. And before I like go out of the company, I go to my boss and say, "Hey, I have to tell you something." Um, because he always said you sound like an artist sometimes when you talk like something creative. And I said, "No, boss, how can you think that about me?" And I was scared to lose my job, and I run to the toilet and start laughing about what he exposed. And then on my last day, I was like, "Hey, his name was Dirk." I was go to him and say, "Hey, Dirk, you were right. I'm a musician. I'm making music like on the weekends when I'm not available for you. I'm making music." And I give him like I have this little cards which I can show. I prepared them for my concert which I had last month, and this is the card.
oh,
And
they look
when you
sick.
yes, it's like marketing wise made. I love giveaways, and this is like it's like my statement and like the link tree here under. And I give it to him and say, "Hey, this is like the real me, and sorry for lying, but I didn't have another chance in Germany. It's very straight when you have two jobs, and making music is counting like a second job. You can't get fired for that." And so I have to hide myself, which already, but me as CloudFighter changed that for the new job. They already know who I am and they support that, and they would come to my concerts, they say. So let's see if I gain like a new following with the new company I've been starting next month.
One thing I really love about you and I really respect, and I think pay attention, people, because you have a whole concept around what you're doing, and just showing those cards really solidifies that idea. You have an idea, you have a vision for where you're going, and it's a really, really positive thing. And not enough people think about this kind of stuff. I mean, doing this show, I see it all the time when I have guests on. I'm not trying to make anyone feel bad who's been on the show, so don't take this as a bad thing. But I see a lot of artists who don't even have a blurb about themselves. And I know it's really hard to write that kind of stuff, but you really do need it. And it doesn't need to be long, it only needs to be like 3 sentences. You summarize it, write a long piece, and bring it all in. I think it's really important to think about this stuff because it helps. It helps a lot to get people to pay attention to you. You can't just get popular on music.
It helps yourself. It helps yourself because when you know for what you've been doing, I mean, imagine like you have 10 people. There's 10 people wanting to do music. So there's 10 people wanting to do music and wanting to sound like Madonna. So who's winning that game? Like you have to know for what you're doing this for. And I know when you start something, you feel like the king, like you are the one, the artist. I don't know, you're so bold and you can do something your friends can do. And then someday you ended up with, oh, I don't have enough likes, I don't have enough followers, I don't have fans, I don't, nobody's clicking on my song. And this is all coming from what? There are too many people living on Mother Earth, and everybody want to be creative, and everybody want to show what they can do best. And there are people making painting videos on Instagram which get very, very famous for that. Why? Because they stay true to their self, and they try to help, like give value to the society, give value to humans. Like don't do it for your own ego. I hate it when people do something for the ego, just like to feel like the king. I don't know, this is destroying you in the end. Just like do it first to feel better, and second, do it to help people, like do something which you can give. And when it's even that you, I don't know, make little cards and sell them for people, like do it. Like you don't have to be musician and artist or whatever in this world. You just have to be like finding what you can do best and go all in, but always having in mind that other people have to respond to it. And when you don't do something with a purpose, it will go under into a trash bin, like everything else we saw on Instagram and Facebook or whatever. When we scroll, like people start scrolling then and don't listening, doesn't take care of them.
Yeah, people's eyes only stay focused for a short period of time, and then they're on to the next thing. It's really hard to get people to pay attention. So if you're able to create a vibe around yourself, and it doesn't take a lot. It really doesn't take a lot. It's just, just spend
Authentic.
Yeah.
Just being authentic. Like Jade, what I love about you is like you can feel in every inch it's you. Like you don't try to be something else. You're just cool, you're authentic. And when you asked me to come into that show, I was like, wow, Jade is inviting me. What an honor. It feels like Madonna invited me, really, and I really mean that serious. Because you're authentic, you're shining your light. You're shining your light because you're putting the effort and just being you. And this is something people can feel. So, but when you try to, I don't know, when you sit now in front of me and try to be Kurt Cobain, I would say, something is wrong with that girl. Like just being the realness, like makes people sympathetic.
Thank you so much. You're making me blush. It is true. Like we have to look in the mirror each day. It's very important. I can't stress it enough. I see so many people on this world, and I'm sure it comes through in your lyrics. And I think I look at this is a social media heavy discussion today because it is such a thing. I see so many people like portraying this image, and it's almost like I can see through it these days. I've got so used to it, and I immediately, instead of me looking at photos now of people, I just think, you look so fucking miserable behind whatever that is. I can feel it coming off the screen. Because you can't be happy 24 hours a fucking day.
Absolutely. And I hate that. I mean, the real people are people came home from their job. They work up, they go to their job. Maybe they don't have one, and they just have like this normal 9 to 5 life. Maybe they have kids, and these kids are screaming the whole day, whatever. These people are not happy. Like nobody can tell me, like, even when it's a famous person having, I don't know, money to bought nannies or whatever, nobody is happy 24 hours, but the society is like putting a big fat X onto that word mental health. And it really makes me sick because we go to a dentist, we go, I don't know, to a doctor in general, and it's no big deal. But when we have something with our mental, the people get like scared of you, they avoid you, they just like push you into that corner. And maybe you're a shy person, like from the character, and then you can't carry it someday. And I don't want people to end up like the lead singer of Linkin Park, like trying to smile, trying to play that society game, but can carry that on the shoulder and ending up in suicide. And I think it's something we can stop in ourselves when we just try to avoid that influences from the outside. And everything is an influence. It's the TV, it's your best friend, it's your family, it's your boss, everything, where we allow them to have our attention. So
Yep, and mental health still is a problem. It just, for some reason, people look at it like, oh, it's something I don't want to get involved in. It's too hard for me, when it only takes a second to put this down and just listen for 10 minutes. 5-10 minutes, like, and just to allow somebody to feel like they're alive instead of and not so alone.
Absolutely, like muting the background noise. Like people adapt to say no to things which are not common used in society. Like when I started PA with my kind of music, free from genres, free from, I don't know, I don't allow somebody to say, hey, she sounds like Madonna, because I hate it. Like I am me, so why should I sound like Madonna? But the people don't doesn't do that only to music. They do that to everything in general. Like there were people telling me I can't make it with music because I'm not having that look. And
Jesus.
in the first cases, I was like, yeah, I'm not looking like that. I don't have big boobs. And yeah, I don't show my boobs. Yeah, that's a fact. But why the hell did I have to look like them? I have to be blonde with blue eyes, or what the hell is your problem? Like, there's so many people in that world looking different. Why should I limit myself to a look given by the media just to look beautiful in their cases? Someday I try to think about it the other way, but in the first cases, it really brings me down and makes me depressed. And I looked into the mirror and say, hey, maybe you're really ugly. Maybe they're right. I don't know. Maybe you should go to a doctor and cut out something. Like these thoughts go in your head and steal your energy. And with these thoughts, you go into your daily life. Like you go out of that door, you go on the street, you just like walk like this and like this. You don't want to look to somebody's face. But when you change that, you go like this and like being proud of yourself. And this is a totally different energy for your mental health, no matter what you carry with you.
I am loving this interview so much today. It's gone down a different path, and all these interviews do go differently because all the artists like yourself are very unique and individual artists who come on here. And I, as most people know, I don't plan much of it, just the start, but the rest is where we go. And today, this is the topic we're talking about. I'm going to play another song right now, and I think this is probably fitting. And then afterwards, we can come back and talk about it. This is called Shadow Symphony. Guys, are you ready?
Oh, yeah.
Let's do it right now. Boom.
Let's do it.
Cruel. All these bad habits down. Don't let it pass over me. Cruel. All these bad habits down. Don't let it pass over me. Past is what is making me weak. Past is what makes me feel so down. I'm too weak to ignore. Fight to let it fall down from me. To let it fall down from me. I can't deny that you were everything to me. Everything I felt was a part of destiny. I'm sinking in the deep black clouds inside of me, inside of my head, and call it symphony. And call it symphony. Can't let go of the dark image, even when it frames me. Can't let go of the dark image, even when it frames me. All these things you've done so easily hurt me, but never broke me. I'm too strong to give a shit about the broken dreams of trust inside of me. Cruel. Down. Past. Down. Can't let go of the dark image, even when it frames me. Can't let go of the dark image, even when it frames me. All these things you've done so easily hurt me, but never broke me. I'm too strong to give a shit about the broken dreams of trust inside of me. Cruel. Down. Shadow symphony. It's a shadow symphony inside of me.
Everybody feeling that vibe. Applause for the people.
Another awesome song. How do you put together your videos? Is there what programs do you use? How do you put them together?
So, like, easy is my favorite word. I love to be easy. And I have an app on my phone, which is I mean, the people will say what, but it's InShoot. Like I'm using InShoot to make that videos, and I put different layers on, and with the time I figured out what works best for me, because I'm always dressed black and have mostly black background. It's good to match like colorful things, so I can just like flow in between, like it was with in Shadow Symphony, like the videos keep on going, but I can stay on one side of the video and just be present, and works best for me because it was easy. Like InShoot, yeah, I love InShoot. It's easy, understandable for everybody. You can make cool professional videos with that app, and it's depending on, like, you have to play around a little bit what's working best, but there's so many copyright free video material on the internet what you can use, and you can give it like your own copyright when you show your face. So this is why am I like in these videos. It's often extra work to put myself in it, but it's for me like a safe spot to show, hey, this is a PA video. Don't steal my shit.
So InShot is available on Android and on iOS. So if you're thinking about it, it has a free trial in it purchase.
Yeah.
So it's a subscription model. So here it's probably about $3.99, I'm guessing, a month. It's pretty cheap actually. So I think you can buy it outright here on the App Store. So it looks like it's probably about $30, $29.99 I think outright. Or
And it explains itself. So when you work with InShoot, you don't need somebody explaining you things. It really explains itself. You have different sliders for their video material to glue into each other, or you can make slow motions, which I love to do because it gives like extra dramatic flow when the hair is going slow motion around you. It creates something romantic, which I really love mostly. And you can put different filters on it, and like you can make two videos become one with it, and pretty simple. And I can prefer to everybody wanting to make videos use that app. It's cheap and low budget and can really help.
You've convinced me. I just download it for free and I'll subscribe, and I'll perhaps do a show on it. I do love having artists on because you always have some new app for me, which I get to show off on the show at a later stage. But that's really cool. And yeah, keeping it simple is the best way. You don't want to freak yourself out with all this stuff, and then you not only, there's enough pressure in the world to live up to standards and all this shit that we've talked about today, and to get your music done, and then make a video clip, and then release it. Yeah, it's a lot of work. So you mentioned recently you did a live performance.
Yes, I did a concert, my first concert without band, and I was scared as hell. And I just the whole time in the car, we just picked up B2Fab, come in fresh 2 hours before the concert. We have to pick him up from the station, and my husband and I and my friend was with us, and the whole time while the car was like, hey, can we go home? I think I will suck tonight. Can we please go home? I don't want to look into their faces. Who the fuck is that girl? And what the fuck is she doing there? I don't want to get that looks. I want to go home. I was so scared. And it ended up, it's like the show must go on. The people paid, they come in, they really paid for that. And you have to do something. You can't say, oh, it's not the amount of people I thought will come or whatever. You have to keep it going. And it ended up being not this bad, I think. Like the people liked it, like the ones were there, and the people seeing it. It's here on YouTube. It's a bad recording because we don't have a good camera with us, but it shows like the vibe, and it shows like every behind the scenes of the song. And it's like the CloudFighters journey, which everybody can do for themselves, like asking that questions to yourself to find out if you're really yourself. And yeah, it was cool. I think Thomas Christ liked it a lot. I get that because you always mentioned and get everybody to listen to it.
Thomas does love you. And we say it a lot.
I love Thomas.
I love
he's
Thomas
such
too.
A cutie. Like I'm married. If my husband is watching, darling, I love you. Don't get it wrong.
We all love Thomas.
such a great soul, and same for Pete Johnson. Like I'm such a lucky person meeting you all, like you too, Jade. Like having that possibility in this days to get heard, to get seen is something very like it's like a lottery, and I think I win a little in it, and it feels good to have the support and to be part of this community. And I try to get my people in it too, and some of you guys met Judah X already. He's one of my diehard, like the one who was with me from the beginning of PA stepping into Instagram and becoming modern. And same for the Pioneers. I have 2 albums with this guy, and he's my ride or die in music. I did the most music in collaboration with the Pioneers, and there's a very, very great musician called Kabatash Kezem. You can find all these people on my Instagram. And B2Fab, guys. B2Fab has a special place in my heart. This dude is so amazing. I mean, I come in very flexible. I just put in, when I come with my car, I go by car from here to Amsterdam with 7.5 hours. And I have a very cool husband. And we just say, hey, okay, let's make a trip. And we go there, and I met him for the first time, having so many songs with him until then. Never met this guy. We met on Instagram. So this is one pro fact, like a good fact of Instagram. You can connect to people when you're a musician. You have possibilities there. And he came to Berlin just because of that concert on the same day. Like he's such a good person and makes so cool music for the brokenhearted. So everyone around me has a proposed, like they want to do something with their music. And if you guys want to listen to something new, like back from the PA vibes to something more like neutral, then just check out my people. They have so many cool songs out.
I'm guessing this is the video here. Is this it here? PA Live in Concert, Berlin. Is that the one?
Yes, there's a malfunction in it. I let it in because it was too funny. I can't cut it out. I just had a white jacket on me, and I just want to make a clothes change, like from the ego to the real you. Put out the sunglasses, put out my normal glasses, and when I want to put out the jacket, like the one underflow out too, and I was half naked on that concert, which I was scared before, and it was so funny. I embarrassed myself for straight 4 minutes, but I tried to keep on going the show. So when you're on that part, I think it's song 3 or something, or song 2. Start laughing, feel free. It makes you feel good then.
Absolutely. And so I'm over here now at your Apple Music page, and you have quite a few albums out as well too. So the last one here, Dance Away the Pain 2. And we've got Dance Away the Pain. So we've got 2 albums here. We've got Pronounce It Alternative. So there's plenty of music for you guys to go and check out. And I knew you were on DistroKid because when I clicked on it, it actually said down the bottom here, DK Records. That's how I knew you're on DistroKid. That's what I look for all the time. So,
like to say it cool, I'm signed at DK Records. I'm not independent. I have a record label called DistroKid. And when you say this to people which are don't doing music, they were like, oh, which is like a cool way to promote and support these guys from DistroKid, which make it possible for people without having a contract from Sony, Universal, BMG to make music, and to have a distributor to get these things straight into other platforms with one click. And really can appreciate it. I think it's the best platform outside. I think there's CD Baby and Co and like all these others, but DistroKid is very easy, like for beginners and for people wanting to have a real good partner. Choose DistroKid, please. It's the best.
I agree. Boom. I agree 100%. I love DistroKid. And again, they're sponsoring the show, and you weren't paid to say that at all. The other thing about releasing music, which is fantastic too, is, I think I say this nearly on every show. For $20, you can go over to the Apple Store, to Apple Music, and you can click on a link, and there's your music, and then you can type in Madonna. We've used her name a lot today, and she's on the same thing as you. Like, you're right next to these artists. Who would have thought that, when we were younger, that you could do this? It just is amazing. It's fantastic.
It's Spotify for sure too. When you find, I just get sometimes send it to me playlists with songs of mine, and there were playlists with Young Blood. He's a pretty cool new artist, alternative pop kind of thing. He's mainstream, like he's signed at Interscope. And after him, there comes Pandora's Box. I mean, it's such a cool mix. Like it's an honor. Like when you see these kind of things, you can learn something out of that. You're not worse than the others. The only thing is you don't get paid for that. That's the only difference. And the listener has the power nowadays. You can decide who you support, but when people continue listening to the mainstream artists and like the big ones, smaller ones like me and others don't have a chance to get paid. And so you ended up having this as a hobby and can make a living out of that. So when there's somebody wanting to support artists, make music for the art, please support little artists you found on the internet. Doesn't have to be me, like in general, to help these people grow.
Yep, and that's what these communities are all about. And there's so many of them here on YouTube who play people's music, and we all support each other, and it's a really amazing thing to see. And I love it. I love it so much. So, what do you have in the near future? Do you have you've got a new single? We're going to go out with that today. What's coming up for you? Is there more gigs, more recording? What's coming up in the immediate future for you?
I think I'm planning things for sure. I'm planning to release a song every week, which I try to hold as
Wow,
hard as I can.
that's hard.
I I released really, I think I have 75 singles out and I have 6 albums in general in 2 years. Yes, in 2 years.
Jesus.
I'm addicted to music. I don't know if it's healthy, but I needed it to hold my flow and to gain experience because I have the goal to, like a dream of mine is to change that industry back to what it used to be. Like music should heal and not hypnosis people to buy things. And I don't know, it's like brainwashing, like the song MTV Brainwash. And I want to concentrate more on that lane. Like we have CloudFighters out, we have Dance Away the Pain Part 1 and 2, and we have like with Pandora's Box a single in between, which is combining all of that feeling. And what I want to do now is to go into revenge mode. I am blaming the society for so long, and now it's time to pay the dues. And MTV Brainwash was strike one, and the next will follow. And let's see what happened when we blame the society. And I want to have answers. I want to know why I get brainwashed when I was 16 to buy stuff that I didn't need today. So
Yep. It feels like we're heading to some kind of point where something's going to give. I'm not being conspiratorial, but there is going to be some point on this planet where the divide between the poor and the rich comes to a head, and hopefully the conspiracy theorists and their madness is not involved in it, because they can go somewhere else so the rest of us can work out what's really going on. um, because
indeed.
it's not lizard people, I can tell you that. It's very simple. It's like what you said with creating a music video. Keep it simple, and it's very simply there's a divide between power and people who don't have power, and it's people who don't have power are eventually going to break. It will happen.
I'm dreaming to see a chart list where the names on it are not like when I go into the artist names, I see mostly Interscope records. I see like when you're on Interscope records, you get famous, like for example, Billie Eilish. But there's so much people outside who are even better than this girl and
Yep.
doesn't get hurt. And I'm dreaming of a chart list with people I know because I worked with them and they get big. So it's one of my dreams, like to see people glow and I know how they started because I followed their journey, or maybe I'll be a little part of it because I have a song with them, just like something I can relate to as artists. And I want like the generation, the new kids having somebody or something to relate to, like which is normal and honest and doesn't push you to buy things. I mean, everyone can say, oh, this is my glass and please buy, please buy. So when you want to make a living out of it, it's better to have supporters than I don't know, customers.
Yep.
I think it's the better way, and I hope this will change us to that point, because the rich ones are already too rich, and I hate that. It's unfair.
I agree 100%. I'm going to hit you with our last question that I hit everybody with. If somebody was out there deciding to make music or become creative, when should they? When do you think is the best time to start?
Immediately. Don't waste time. You get older, you get you get gray hair. Sometime I think I have two. I'm 34 right now, and I wish I yeah, and then you have like this painting things and whatever, and things get not this easy anymore but when you're younger, when you're 16, like how I was when I started my band, go for it. Don't let heartbreak stop you. Don't let post-traumatic stress disorder stop you from making music. Don't let people's opinion. People don't make music, don't know what you're doing, don't know how to hear this instrumental before it's ready. For them is everything bullshit, because you're not signed to Interscope and you're not signed to BMG. They don't want to support you. They are people, negative, egoistic behavior. They want to see you down and small, so they have something from you and steal much more longer your energy. But when you say, okay, stop that nonsense, you have so much time left, so much lifetime, and you can use it for so many good things. Like make a song which you like, how you like it to hear. It's your ears. Like there's so many people outside, and kind of people from this people have maybe the same ears as you. You don't know. And when I make PA, I was like, okay, my songs are so weird. Nobody would like them, I think, except me. But now I'm here in this interview, and you can be the next one, be here on Jade Starr's interview.
I don't know if that's that cool, but thank you. I
think it was a great to round the topic. like I don't know, like don't lose time with like I think one thing everybody should ask themselves is, what will you take into your grave? What will you take with you someday, somehow? Will you take your new smartphone with you? Will you take your great big car with you, or your fancy clothes, or your made Botox lips or whatever? Because they're all like going away, you know. What you will left here is your name and what you did here. And maybe you work as a doctor and people remember you for being the doctor, which can save lives. But when you're an artist, you leave songs on Mother Earth, and maybe they get big when you're dead, because it's mostly happening someday, which doesn't mean kill yourself.
No.
Please. Don't get this wrong.
Don't kill yourself.
But put it out, put your cars out, put your Lamborghini out, like make your first single, then make an album, put the alchemy out, like put out what's inside of you, let it flow and see what happens. So there is nothing telling you you will be succeeding someday somehow. So this is like social media time age. You can succeed right now, but you can have personal success, and this is the difference.
100%. Live it like it's your last day. Get it out, man. Get it out.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah. I want to thank you for coming on the show today and being so candid and talking honestly, like with all your music. I want to thank you for your music, because it's fantastic. And as I said,
thank you for listening.
If you're watching this, go and stream it, go and buy it, go and do all the things. They're all in the description. I want to thank everybody for being here in the live chat today, and those of you watching on the replay, we love you too. So thank you for that. And, you know, hit the like on the way out. It helps with the channel and all that jazz. If you haven't subscribed, do it. It costs nothing, you know. And I think I'm only one subscriber away from to how many? 2,400? It's a hard slog, this YouTube thing, trust me. But
yes.
It's all absolutely worth it. And so please, I want to also thank DistroKid, as always, for being a wonderful sponsor of these interviews. You guys rock. Thank you so much, DistroKid. Today we are going to go out with a new track from Pi.A called Mtv Brainwash. What is this all about?
Outro.
Yeah. What is this about?
MTV Brainwash is about the brainwashing which we get when we watch the VMAs when we were 16 years old. Maybe younger people don't know what the VMAs are because nowadays the VMAs are on Paramount Plus, which nobody even knows, like the channel. In my time, it was on the TV. I had a video recorder, set the timer, and I waited for Best Rock, who wins Best Rock and who wins that. And now, like half lifetime later, now I'm 34. I was like, hey girl, you get brainwashed. Did you realize that? You go out after the VMAs, you bought the Good Charlotte stuff, you wanted to know more about Blink 182, and you start to wanting to have colored hair, and I don't know, something changes with you. And people say, oh, when you're younger, you try to find yourself. How should I find myself when the media tell me what should I find on myself? Maybe I don't need it, but they want me to bought it because they need money. And when I figured that out, I wrote MTV Brainwash, the lyrics in 10 minutes because I was so angry about society.
Perfect. This is the perfect track to go out on, my friends. Now, please, Pi, stay on the line here. And so when the show ends, I can say goodbye to you off the air. So please hang on.
Sure, I'm here.
Awesome. All right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Pi. Remember, do the things that make you happy. Mistakes, they make us better. And you know what? We will all rise together. This is MTV Brainwash. Let's do it. We'll see you on the next one. We've got Jamie Melander coming up on the weekend performing live on this channel. So that's awesome. So make sure you're coming here to see that. And let's do it. This is MTV Brainwash. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, let's do it now.
They say heaven on earth, I say heaven is hell, 'cause I'm dancing on a tightrope between heaven and hell. My mind is stuck and arrested between all these walls. I try not to fall to that big black hole. It's in my Pandora's box, hidden in my Pandora, locked in my Pandora, deep down. Breathe that shit in and out. That's the only way to stop us so from falling apart. Torn, listening to calm, feeling the pressure of the storm. Manson, he's just testing how much anger I can take. Rage is the machine of the steam I carry inside. Good Charlotte is the alphabet of the darkness within me. I master my headphones, leave a push play. Keep on checking my mind, only when access to some of the most wanted. To those who are deserving my attention, the depths of my attention, the depths of my attention. Torn, listening to calm, feeling the pressure of the storm. Manson, he's just testing how much anger I can take. Rage is the machine of the steam I carry inside. Good Charlotte is the alphabet of the darkness within me. I master my headphones before I push play. Keep on checking my mind, only when access to some of the most wanted. Those who are deserving my attention, the depths of my attention, the depths of my attention. Papa Roach, Conan, Good Charlotte, Manson, Rage, and the queens of the MTV age. Who needs mainstream when you can do it